everybody, and welcome back to the Spectator Mode Podcast, the Outerhaven premier gaming and geek culture podcast. I am your host, Keith D. Mitchell, and I'm feeling a little better. Thanks for asking. And join with me are my buddies, Get Serious, who's actually in the middle this time.
Oh, it's great. I'm in between. I'm between, a sick guy and a guy who's making me sick from his recent adventures and things I can't talk about.
Wow. You could just say you're in between greatness. That would have been,
greatness.
Anyway, you're done. And we've got Scott. What's up, Scott?
I am just happy to be here.
Me too. So, as you guys may remember, the last couple of podcasts, I have been very sick, and I am not 100%. So, if you see me disappear or not talk, I do apologize. I'm trying to get better, but we haven't progressed to the point where we have those full prosthetic bodies like Ghost in the Shell yet. So, I'm stuck with this flesh bag. Anyway, with most Spectator podcasts, we like to talk about games that we have played, and I'm going to go first because I haven't played a lot, but I have a couple of surprises. So, I actually got back into playing Baldur's Gate 3 because I said last podcast I said I was going to stop playing it, but I'm going to finish playing it because I want to beat it. I've never had a game beat me, so I'm going to beat it. So there's that. I've been playing a game I cannot talk about, but this leads into one of our topics, but I will show you some cool things. So this is Project Gotham Racing 2. This is Project Gotham Racing 3. This is Project Gotham Racing 4 and SXX 2013 and Infinite Undiscovery.
Ooh.
I hooked up my Xbox 360 and I have been going through a lot of games. I've determined I'm going to hook up my Xbox 360 along with my PlayStation 3 and my PlayStation 2 and find another retro console and connect them all together. And I'm going to have a retro setup along with my modern consoles and my PC. So it's going to be fun. And what started this? Trying to find a copy of Outrun 2 or Outrun 2006 for the Xbox. And those things are super expensive. Like $200 to $300. So, yeah. I'm done. Next. As my camera tries to refocus for some weird reason.
That sounds fun. Good luck with your retro adventures and hopefully not getting ripped off by the fun retro market.
It's crappy out there. It's really crappy.
It is, yeah. So what I've been playing this week is I'm playing obviously some Baldur's Gate 3, mostly spending time with Bro, finding more weird stuff in the game we can do. This game has so much depth and like how you can break the mid-maxing to like alternate paths. There's a whole bunch of stuff. And I've been doing a lot of that. I've been playing a lot of Grand Blue Fantasy versus Rising. It's my favorite fighting game right now. I just really recommend it. It's easy to play, get into. Obviously, there are things in the game people dislike, like 6/6 light, aka dashing light attacks are plus, but the game is very aggressive, so whatever. It is what it is from there. I've been trying to play more bullet-style roguelikes, so I've been outside playing a lot of Tiny Rogues. I've been trying to play a little bit of Risk of Rain. I played Risk of Rain Returns Remastered, so I kind of like that a bit. Played some Crazy Taxi, still trying to get S rank in arcade with arcade rules. I already did it in original, so I'm trying it with the arcade map. It's pretty rough. Played some RoboQuest, and I spent some time playing one of my favorite series, Turnip Boy, but now he's Rob a Bank. So I'm pretty excited about that. Now we're Rob a Bank's a Turnip Boy.
Wait, aren't these the same games you played last time?
No. I have not played Turnip Boy Robs a Bank. That came out this week.
I could have swore you mentioned that recently.
No, that's a game I wanted to buy. That when it comes out. That's what I'm looking forward to.
For some reason, my camera is still auto-focusing. I don't know what's going on with that.
It's trying to figure out where you're at.
It's trying to figure it's like centered on me.
It's not even on. Autofocus is not on. It's just going. So that's not good.
And one thing for sure is I can say I'm happy about the Xbox conference they had, Dev Conference. Some of the games are on sale, so I managed to get Hellblade for cheap. So it's like, it's $3 for Hellblade. All right, so I might replay it on PC because I played it on console, and obviously PC superior. So let's see the PC superiority going.
Okay.
I might have to blink out of here. This auto focusing is really ticking me off.
It's because
really pissing me off.
That's what cut it to another webcam that you have right next to the other webcam.
Yeah, you gotta make the decision.
It's like webcam. It's like, do you want autofocus on? No. It's on manual. I'm looking at it. It says manual. Why is it trying to autofocus? Come on, technology. Stop it. God, for the love of God, stop. Look at that. It's just going ridiculous.
That's kind of funny on a different
No,
scale.
it's not. It's really making me agitated because it's destroying the professionalism of us.
Oh, now,
I can't
now we're professionals. Great. I can't believe we're professionals. First, we were like enthusiasts with goofballs, and now we're professionals. Yo, this is, oh my God. I told you about this like off camera a while back. I was like, yo, you need to like, I was like showed you a video of a guy who had a camera in a perfect corner position, so it will never happen. These are hints I'm telling you, man.
Dude, this was perfect. This setup is perfect. And then all of a sudden it's like, I want to do it. I think I fixed it. You know
think
what it was?
fixed it? Right.
It was AI enabled. AI got enabled somehow.
Oh, the AI was doing the autofocus on you.
So I took the autofocus off, and AI's like, I don't think that's right, Keith.
God, I hate.
I'm sorry, Dave.
You got that reference.
God, yeah, AI. God, I hate AI so much, man.
It's part of our lives everywhere you go, and it's just becoming more and more integrated. I'm sorry.
It's gonna be
is
fun to see our new AI overlords. Just don't
it's
talk
gonna be
bad about
it's just like one of the topics I'm going to talk about that I didn't add to the docket, but I'm going to add now because you just reminded me. But Scott, go ahead.
Alrighty, so I have basically pushed all my gaming time into 2 games. One I can't talk about, one that I can. So the one that I can is Neptunia Sisters vs. Sisters. I recently got the Switch copy of the game. In case those of you who are not Neptunia oriented, Sisters vs. Sisters is a game that came out last year on the PlayStation and on PC. They took some time to actually work on and calibrate and make sure that it runs optimally on a Nintendo Switch. So they released that one later. And they did actually a really good job. I ran all the way basically to its biggest city and its biggest dungeon just to see how the Switch runs like the bigger areas and how they do with like the better, I guess, graphics on it. And it does a lot better than I was expecting it was going to do, especially with how the PS4 originally ran Sisters vs. Sisters when it was very chuggy. When it was trying to get to like the bigger areas, like their big cities, like you actually get to go to Planeptune and the Planeptune Tower, which are like the bigger areas that you can actually see so much of. On PS4, had problems running it. PS5 obviously didn't. PC, depending on which patch you did, had. Sometimes it would run it well, sometimes wouldn't. I didn't have any issues, but I think that's just because I have a pretty boisterous PC. And the Switch runs it pretty well. They added 2 new characters to the Switch, which is Maho and Henri, which are characters I originally even talked in my review, wish was playable. So they did one of the things that I wanted in my old review. And both characters play pretty decently. There are some things that I wish they added more with their transformations, but I can't complain too much. Just the fact that I can actually play these characters is a big highlight. Otherwise, there isn't really much of a reason to get the Nintendo Switch version if you have the other consoles, unless you really like having all the New Game Plus features from the get-go. Because when you do New Game Plus on the old one, you get access to 2 characters as well. You get Higurashi Alice, and then you get, I forgot who the other character is, like Ryuzakin. She's also in there, and she's fun.
So, as I mentioned, I've been doing a lot of retro gaming the last couple of days, and a lot of it started because I just wanted to play Outrun again, and I realized that Sega had taken that down pretty much everywhere. And it's not one of those things where it's physical versus digital, because Sega got rid of it everywhere. They removed it from Steam. They didn't make any more copies for either the original Xbox or the PlayStation 2. They literally just stopped. And a lot of the versions of these games had different things in there, which is like, which one do you really want? Because Outrun 2 had all the tracks from Daytona USA and Scud Racer. For a lot of people may remember in arcades was Super GT. And Outrun 2006 Coast to Coast had something else. So it was like, what do you want? Do you want this or you want that? But I kind of want Outrun 2 and Outrun 2006 because I want both versions of the game. And the problem with that is, as I mentioned earlier, is Outrun 2 is considerably cheaper, but Outrun 2006 Coast to Coast is considered to be a superior game, even though it's missing some tracks. and that one is anywhere from $200 to $300. And I've been looking everywhere on eBay, on Amazon, on various other websites, and that game is just so expensive. And I started doing some research to find out why that game is so expensive. And it turns out Sega didn't really print a lot of copies of that game because it came out towards the end of the Xbox's life. Fantastic. Thanks very much for that, Sega. So I'm going left and right looking for this. Yesterday, I went to the farmer's market and I picked up an Xbox controller, a wired one. It was really crappy. I got to take it back. And I picked up a couple different games. I tried to get an Xbox 360S. That's the slim one because I have the original one and I thought it was busted, but I hooked it up and started playing it and it works. The reason why I thought it was busted is my son, when he was very little, put coins inside of the CD DVD drive.
Yeah.
Oh no.
So I thought that it was done for good, but it still works. So I'm kind of like, do I want to take it apart and replace the CD drive, or just maybe take it apart and see if the coins come out or not? Because if you guys remember, the Xbox 360 drive was shipped, so it's specific to the platform. You have to actually take out the board of the CD drive and swap it with another one for it to work properly. It's just, I guess it was one of those DRM things, but it's a really pain in the butt. I did it for somebody years ago, but I have to do that again for this one or buy the new one. And I kind of just want the black one. But regardless, I just found myself looking at all these games I played in the past that I really just want to play again, like SSX Tricky. I want to play all those games again. And it's just, as I look at all these different places where to pick up these games, they're just so expensive. Even the Xbox 360 controller, it's like, you want $50 for this controller, this POS controller? Are you kidding me? So now I'm looking at places where to find the controllers, find the better controllers. It's just, man, I now understand where a lot of people were like, I'm retro gaming and this stuff is so expensive. And in the back of my head, I was like, how can it be so expensive? I'll just emulate the game. But as I got to the point, I was like, I really don't want to emulate the game. I want the physical game. I want to be able to put it inside of my Xbox and play it. So now it'll be the Xbox 360, it'll be the PlayStation 2, and God knows what else I'm going to get into. So
yeah,
this is
basically you finally ascended to the realization that it's cool to emulate, but like, you know, having a physical thing is like, it's real. People like real.
Yeah. Somebody was like, why don't you download it from Steam? I was like, first of all, you can't. Second of all, I can actually go find an ISO of the game for the PC, but I don't want to. I just want the convenience of being able to put it inside the console and just play it. Even if I only play it for like 10 minutes or 15 minutes or 20 minutes, I want it. Also, playing on the Xbox 360 and seeing how outdated and old the interface is like, wow.
Yeah,
wow.
times a while back then. No, but it's like but retro gaming to me, it's like most of it, like, as somebody who used to collect comics and stuff like that back in the day, and I still collect manga, blah, the collection market has been like a internal fake scam, in my opinion. But that's a 10-hour topic for later. But I hate the fact, because I know too many, like, if you're really looking for stuff, send me a list. I know a lot of people in the region I'm at, so I can look for stores and see what you're looking for, so I get them. Yeah, I know you're looking for Outrun. I know that. You're looking for a controller. What else are you looking for?
I don't know what else, but we can talk about it offline. But I'm just amazed though at no, it's a lot of stuff, seriously. But I'm amazed at the condition a lot of the stuff is in. Like this, for example, Infinite Undiscovery. This was one of, if not one of the best Xbox RPGs ever. This was part of the whole Mistwalker. No, this is one of the best ones.
I mean, sure. I mean, you want to lower the bar for, you're at Microsoft. We're lowering the bar really hard, but okay.
But this wasn't from Microsoft. This was from
was that from
this was Mistwalker.
Yeah,
Mistwalker. I know. That's a really low.
The 360 had a lot of really good
But see, look at this.
Support.
Look at this. This thing, it's flawless. It's like either they never played it or what. I mean, the freaking postcard is still in here. Like,
it
how?
definitely feels like someone got it, played it once, and then put it back.
Yeah, I don't want this game anymore. And I picked this up for $15. So, and I saw SSX, and I was like, wait, is this the first one? But it's not. This was the one at the very end. And this one was $15 as well. And I was like, this game normally sells between $30 to $50. And I'm like, how that I score this. But it doesn't have the manual or anything, so that's okay. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Just I'll talk to you about this later. I've got a lot of games I'm looking forward to. Now I got to find places to put these games at my office, or maybe the other room that I'm supposed to be putting these arcade cabs in. So we'll figure this out. Eventually. No, I still want a Vuelix or a Chewix. I still want one or a pinball machine over there. That was the whole reason I made that room. It's literally.
Look, I'll come over and get a pinball machine, but if it's an arcade machine, I'm only gonna be there to take your money. I'm being honest with you. Like, you got third strike up in there. You're $20 and I'll leave. You know, shit.
Jeez.
See, look at that. He would charge. He would actually try and beat me for money. I'm like, I'm not doing money matches, but I actually did think about putting some cabs in here and just like, hey guys, have you ever played arcades? Come over here, and I got some here. And you can fight people that way.
Genuine experience.
The genuine experience. You take that money. Like, come on, man. That's a real New York City. Yo, $5 I can beat you for Kuma right now. Let's go. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going all the way to the old arcade days, it wasn't for $20. It was for like 2 quarters.
Yeah, but we got to inflate that, man. 10 times. We got 10 times inflation, man. 10 times inflation.
I am definitely doing it. That was the entire point of building that room over there. So it's getting done this year. But let's move along. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, and this is a topic that really is frustrating me here. So Sega has an upcoming RPG, an amazing RPG, one that everybody who play RPGs and really likes Sega's franchises is looking forward to playing. Not just for the RPG, not just for the story, but also because you can actually play Sega arcade games in there and some of the games that people have been waiting on. So we got Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth coming out very soon, and there's 2 things about this story that we want to talk about here. Two things. So the first one is recently Sega had the audacity, the balls to have one of the most notorious streamers, personalities out there, SQC, show off the game. And I don't understand why Sega did this. This guy, for lack of a better word, is trash. I understand that has a lot of numbers. He's big up there, but if I was going to show off a brand new game and I wanted somebody that was wholesome and somebody that people respected, this guy would not be on my short list. Matt, tell me how you feel about this.
Well, the thing about SQC is that, like, former Overwatch pro, quote unquote, left that scene, then started his own streaming thing, then doing like maniac level streams, just him going like reaction, whatever. Now he just sits there and does lazy content across the board. And he recently had I wouldn't even call it debate, just to say a phone call with a guy called Ethan Klein. And if you ever look that up, it is one of the most embarrassing, horrible arguments and things you ever seen in your life. It is a freak show. In the middle of the conversation, he breaks on the floor, humping it dry, says you're poor, looks at his watch, because he was accused of just leaving, like he would leave his house or leave his room, whatever, and just stream other people's content, give no like warning or anything or credit to them whatsoever, upload to YouTube and call it a day. Which that was the meta. That was the meta. Like it was like the lowest form of reaction.
So it's kind of just a weird thing to
I
try
wouldn't
to
say
justify.
that's a big deal because I know there's a lot of people who are just jumping into it, but it's just his toxic behavior, man. I just feel embarrassed for Sega. It was just like, I don't remember the company, but they were related to 4chan. Who was that? Do you remember what that was, Scott? What was that company? They decided to stream on 4chan. And everybody's like, "Why are you doing this?"
I don't even want to think about that.
It was very bad, but it didn't go over well. Eventually, it blew over because I don't remember the name of the company. But it feels like this. It's like, why would you have this guy streaming this upcoming massive game? Not that it's going to hurt the game. It's not going to hurt the game.
No, it's
whatsoever. Not. But it's just like, Sega, your rationale for doing this was really bad. And I'm not saying this because it'd be like, hey, I want you to have me stream your game. Because no, I understand that I'm just a random guy that would never be in that position now, at least currently right now. But he would not be somebody that I would have streaming your game.
It's a duality of Sega. They can get like really wholesome people like Corone from Hollow Live to stream like Sonic games. It'd be in Sonic Studio. They can pay All Elite Wrestling to do a street fight promotion for the game. They'll make a commercial with Dretsky, which is nice. And then you'll get like, you know, somehow with it, you get XQC promoting a game. Like, or you'll get you know, Aaron Hansen of Eagle Raptor fame promoting your game at one point because he was just a Sonic hater at one point of his life. I don't know if he still is, but at one point he was. It's a duality of Sega. They're like, well, they're big enough, it's okay to promote it, but it's like they should be more conscientious of like what they want, because it's better to have better quality of things you have of your item than the numbers. Because like having 100 people who watch your game and hate it, it's like, for example, like one of the most embarrassing things there's a clip out there of XQC flipping out, not knowing it's a turn-based game at all.
Yeah,
he had no idea.
Now.
Yeah, there's it. Yeah, it's like him. He's like I said, for someone who played video games professionally for years, his IQ is like, I can't believe you're a real person.
Man, it's not even that. It's not even that. Just think about this entire disconnect right now. I'm going to hire you for half an hour, whatever, to play this game. Obviously, I'm going to give you access to this game. So even if you've never played this game or heard this game, whatever, that you would be at least versed with this game. For you to get on stream in front of millions of people and act like you have no idea what you're doing, Sega, what are you doing? Why? This again is an embarrassment on Sega of America's part. And I bet you anything, Sega Japan was like, what are you doing, Sega?
The thing of it's like, again, it's a duality of Sega's like PR team. They get brilliant stuff. Like, again, one of my favorite VTubers who I have swag of, you know, Corone. Hopefully, you know, what Tommy will give Tom's by Sega a day because she did nothing wrong. Or Tokinosaur, because God should know how to play an RPG. I mean, she plays Minecraft. It's the same thing, right? But it's like they'll can do amazing things.
I'm not going to go into that debate, but go ahead.
Yeah, you don't know the VTubers, but like, it's like they can do amazing promotion stuff, things that's really cool, interesting, and then they can hire some really stupid stuff. Again, like Aaron from Eagle Raptor promoting a Sega game. He's a Sega hater, and like at one, I don't know if he is now. Again, at one point, like he was like one of the bandwagon and hate Sonic games, and then you have like you know, and you have SQC promoting a game. It's just like it's just weird stuff, man. It is what it is from there, man.
And yes, if you watch this show or listen to this podcast and say that Keith Mitchell is hating on Sega and XQC, yes, I definitely am.
I know you. It's what you expect. I mean, if you want to be more official about it, like this Keith Mitchell guy is an Xbox fanboy. Of course, he hates Sega. He hates the Japanese. You know how it is, man. It's just really? Just say that in the comments below, and he'll understand what you mean.
Don't put that out there. Everybody should know that I'm an equal opportunist. I like all, but I don't like.
Just put. You guys, come on. Put type in the chat right now.
I don't like people like that. I don't like that.
Don't forget the famous "Sonic was never good" line.
Exactly, Sonic was never good line. Yeah. Put that in the comments below. Just type at Gitsilius, at Keith Mitchell. You know, Sonic was never good, and we want to say what you're talking about. You know.
Speaking of Sega, let's talk about something else that Sega has done which is a very bad thing, and it's also part of Like a Dragon: Infinite Wealth. So this game is coming out in a couple of days. And Sega had the audacity, even back year when somebody caught wind of it and asked Sega, that they locked the new game plus of the game behind pretty much a paywall. So basically, if you want to play the new game mode of this game, you have to pay Sega $15. So there are 3 versions of the game. There's the standard, there's the deluxe, and then there is the ultimate edition. Standard is like, is it $65? Is it really $65?
It's 70, I believe. According to Steam, it's
no.
70,
Where's that? I just gave it an image. Where is it?
Yeah, I said on Steam it's 70. So you know.
So that is ridiculous. No, I'm going to give people the prices. So no, I'm sorry. You're right. It's the standard edition is $70. And if I'm wrong, definitely let us know in the comments on the video, because I'm pretty sure this is the first time I've heard.
Yeah, it's such a weird thing to do. It's like, okay, they got this single player experience, and the thing about Yakuza 2 is that, like, Yakuza up till, like, I want to say Yakuza 0 and Yakuza 6. I don't know if people play Kiwami 1 and 2, but those are like the top numbers. And, like a Dragon, 7. Those are, like, the big standouts of the game. If you're a real Yakuza fan, you would play 3 to 5 and then have some real conversation about storytelling. Really good stuff. But it's like it's a cult series that got big over like memes or whatever, and now it's like now you're putting screws on New Game Plus. It's like I joke, my running joke is like none of y'all gonna play New Game Plus. Like that's even though it's a joke, but you should not like put it behind a paywall. Like I like the DLC and cosmetics behind a paywall. Yeah, I guess so, whatever, right? But it's like a paywall to access after beating the game if I wanted to unlock extra things or try if you had a hidden dungeon or like see if I could 100 be a completionist. It just feels really, really weird to do that. It's such a strange game thing to do. Like, could you imagine like if other RPG people do this? Like, oh hey,
That's
for Final Fantasy, yeah. No, I personally hope this doesn't become a trend, and I hope no one else tries it. But it's such a weird thing to do because it's like then you have to realize like what is now people want to start talking. Well, I paid $15 and my New Game Plus and keeps all my stats. Well, my New Game Plus actually lets me read decisions in my story. Me, you know how I do New Game Plus in Baldur's Gate 3? I just press start after I beat the game. Would you like to continue your file and say yes? You will not be able to do XXX. And we're like, that's it. That's it.
And think about this for a second. Just think about just the bare minimum here is this is not even a DLC.
No.
Nope.
Why are you charging me more money?
It's such a weird. It's so like, and this is again. I'm trying to understand the logic. It's so
there
weird.
Is no logic. There is no logic.
That's the thing. It's like do they assume like that? Again, this is ultimate bad faith and like disgust of the customer that the consumer is not gonna once they beat the game they're gonna play it again. It's like maybe the casuals won't. Or some of the streamers, maybe. No insult to you guys. I know you guys have like millions of games. You guys make content every like 24 hours a day. Trust me.
But here's
you can't
the
be
thing.
sitting
Here's
around.
The problem. Here's my beef. Outside of them doing this, suppose there's some new content, New Game Plus that you want to play. Look at Alan Wake 2. They added new content in New Game Plus. So if you wanted to get access to that or get the better ending or whatnot, you had to play the New Game Plus, and it was free. It came a little late, but it was free. Most games with New Game Plus have something in there. Either it's a harder challenge or stuff that wasn't accessible in the original game. And suppose there's something great in New Game Plus for this, and now you got it behind this paywall. And what if people are like, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to rock with Sega. This is dumb. What if people can't afford it?
I mean, that argument is applicable to like so many games now. It's like it's one of the reasons why like sales or Steam sales are more prominent to boost game sales than initial launches now. Like a perfect example of this is that like I love Baldur's Gate 3. I think it's one of the best RPGs of all time. Goated, and if you don't like it or that's something wrong with you, just simple as that. But like I know that a lot of people picked up the game. Even though it was such a minimal sale, that 10% sale made people bought the game more during, I think, the last 4 months quarter. So I know for a fact that because it's New Game Plus BS, right? I know there's going to be like at least a quarter of the section of people who's going to buy Yakuza like 8 months down the road. The moment it goes from like, let's say it's $84.99, so it's like $85, it drops down to like $70 base price or something. And that really hurts because that means that there's people who want to try your game, but you're pricing out content they wouldn't even have.
They're going to wait for the price to go down. Yep.
Right. Yep. Unless you're like me, who's going to buy the 109 set, super set, because they love Yakuza. That's a nightmare I have to deal with on my own.
You want those extra 2 classes.
Look, I want the extra classes. I want the I want the Bakamitai.
That's all. That's all.
It's a day before my birthday. How am I supposed to not treat myself? How am I not supposed to enjoy my life? I don't have much going on.
I don't like it. I really wish.
Big milestones and goals that they probably didn't think they were actually going to hit.
One game on Steam, it is the #1 selling Steam game with the biggest numbers of concurrently.
Yeah, it hit over like 1.2 million at a single time of people playing this game. And I think it's due to just this game is very online oriented and focused with having a lot of people. The Steam version, you can have up to 32 people in a lobby. So you can have a lot of people in the same server basically doing Pokemon stuff, or Palworld stuff.
I've heard some nightmares of people wrecking other people's stuff in their games as well. So it's a
just
survival
like
game as well.
Minecraft in that sense of everybody attacks everybody else.
Yeah.
I
don't know
if
about
you
that.
have a good friends, if you have a good friend team, and if you have like people you know are going to be having fun in it, then yeah, Palworld is blowing up when it comes to people who have a lot of friends who'd want to bring in even more people to their server, which has a lot more sales. So I mean, one of the big like social aspects Palworld hits it out of the park for. There's a lot of people on Twitter who are basically just showing off all of their different footage of having all their other friends on this game. But that said, there is a lot of controversy this game has hit with. And a lot of it is due to, first off, it's kind of like its concept, which basically sold itself as Pokemon with guns. And that's basically been its like meme name for ever since its like announcement, like 2 years ago, I think it was. And that put a lot of people already off on those who are like, I guess, Pokemon purists or something like that, who only want to play like the Pokemon monster catcher type games. And they won't play.
No, don't say that. Monster Hunter, they only want to play Pokemon.
Yeah.
Trust me. Yeah, they're very specific. If they were interested in other monster collections games, they would have been like Temtem, Cassette Beast, and the other ilk of that. Like, they're just more like protect Daddy Nintendo. Okay, I'm being not mean to you guys, but y'all going a little too hard on the Pokemon Defense Force. Okay.
And so there's a lot of people who want to basically pull anything they can because of that out of this game. There's also people who are making its claims that the models and the rigs and the AI then the art was all done by AI, that they only had very inexperienced people working on it, so they just had to like basically as a fallback. But there is no real evidence that there's any AI in this game. A lot of what people are going off of is based on one of their previous games, which was released like 2 years ago, which was literally in its name an AI art generator, but it's like AI art imposter, where it's like a party game where you have to have people basically decide, go through a lot of like things of, is this AI or is this like an actual art asset? They would buy basically all these like real art asset packs you can buy, because there's a lot of assets you can buy in like Steam and like Unreal Engine and all that stuff, like Unity. And they put it together with like an AI art generated image. And they basically ask the person, is this AI, is this real? And it just goes through a whole like list of a party game kind of a deal, because the guy just likes the concept of using AI art as just like, I don't know, he just likes the concept of seeing how that works, which, I mean, is interesting to see, but at the same time, it has a lot of controversy in AI art with how they get their sources, how they get their assets, how they utilize it, and if they actually, well, some of them definitely do scrape art from the internet.
Exactly.
And so that's why there's a lot of people who are hating on this game, but at the same time, there is no actual conclusive evidence that there is any AI or any generative art on here. A lot of it is just models that you could say are heavily inspired from like Pokemon and other monster designs. But a lot of the things of that too is that Pokemon's monster designs are also heavily inspired from real world animal designs or real world things. And some of them are very much similar, already inspired from games like Dragon Quest monsters, or even from like Monster Rancher, or there's a lot of monster catcher type things in the world, and a lot of them kind of recycle the same types of things.
Temtem. Yeah. Everybody forgot about Temtem.
Yeah, I already mentioned Temtem. Yeah, I mentioned that earlier. Temtem. Yeah. No, it's just interesting because it's like I've seen like really bad faith posts about this game where people like, like, oh yeah, you see how they stole this Pokemon design here? Like, that's a sheep. Like, you don't like. I know that
is a Pokemon. I've never seen it in my life. It's a Pokemon.
Like, bro, like I know that Mareep's Mareep is a cool Pokemon, but that's just a sheep with electrical things on it. That's just a sheep. That's a cat. That's like come on, chill. Like, my thing about Palworld kind of connect two things that are crack, essentially. Base builder games and survival games are fun, especially for the Zoomers. I mean, they love this stuff. It's good, right? They're fun. And they have Monster Collection, which is also fun. Put it together and you got a good game, like, unironically. And I think about the AI thing actually bothers me a lot, because if it was AI, and I'm always willing to be proven wrong, is that this game's been on Steam. Somebody would have probably cracked the game to Steam right now to confirm it's AI or whatever, Pokemon. But, It is what it is. Do I agree that they are legally distinct from certain Pokemon designs? And I say they're very legally distinct. Yes. Do you notice a legal distinction? Yes. And that's enough to get by. You may not like it, but yeah, but that's enough to get by.
Otherwise, Nintendo's ninja lawyers would already be on top of that.
Exactly. They would have like DMC, like, oh, we got CLC 6.
Speaking
Oh my
of
God,
Nintendo's ninja lawyers, do you think they're going to do anything about this, or do you think they're trying to already?
I don't think so. No.
If they were, they would have already tried when this was announced, which was when everyone thought they were going to do it.
Right, and with the way it blew up now, they do it now, the social backlash will be pretty big. I mean, oh, hey, Nintendo took away your favorite game.
I don't think Nintendo cares about their backlash. I mean, they've killed so many fan-made projects.
First of all, Keith, let's back up. We said those are fan-made games. This is a real game, okay? Nintendo hates its fans. Exactly.
Nintendo does not care.
Listen, because I what I said before you come over, right? Nintendo hates their fans. Jokingly, seriously, take that as you will. If you do this to a real company, there's real company backlashes to it. There's a difference between beating up a local store and beating up a 3-year-old kid and playing in the mud. It's easy to beat up the kid 3 in the mud, all right? That's what Nintendo's good at, kicking kids down. Kicking down an actual company that has produced.
This is the internet.
This is the internet. Yeah. There's at least one guy. Oh,
yeah. Well, we'll have to wait and see. But until then, the game will continue to take the world by storm, and I won't stop hearing about people talking about that game. I even got to the point where I'm like, maybe I'll play it.
I've had that thought myself, to be honest.
And here's what Game Pass, and you just go ahead and play it, right?
Yeah. I'm not gonna play it. I'm not into survival horror. I'm not into survival archetype games. I like monster collection games here and there, but that's not my jam. But I'm happy people like it. I'm honestly because, and again, this is my honest opinion. This opens up more design space in the monster collection field. Monster collection are mostly are essentially RPGs. Are there other ways to make them into better RPGs? I think Pokemon Arceus is really cool. I like that. And Palworld seems like a good direction. Hopefully, people experiment in that game space more to make more monster collection games that are cool. So we won't, be hoping Nintendo makes a good Pokemon game because Scarlet and Violet just hurts on the inside. It just does.
Wasn't going to bring that up. Not at all.
Not at all. No.
Speaking about this game, there's also a big snafu or frustration that this game is not available on PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5. And the developer may not bring it out for the platform.
Yeah, this will have to require PlayStation to actually go in through their own licensing agreements. Because the thing with PlayStation is they don't really allow games in early access. And so Palworld isn't officially released. Its early access is available to be purchased, basically. So all of these $4 million in sales it's the early access is basically purchased. So Xbox does do that. They've already experimented with other games. It's one of the reasons why Dreamlight Valley is available on Xbox is because they are still in early access. You have other games that are, even this company Pocket Parrot has already made Craftopia is also still in early access, and that released 2 years ago, and it's still been in early access for 2 years. So they do a lot of early access games, and they kind of just leave them there until they think they're ready for it. And a lot of the times it takes years for them to be ready. So that's usually why they don't really do a PlayStation release or even plan for it. So that's going to be a whole problem there. But so apparently people have been trying to get Yoshida and the developer talking to get some kind of agreement going to get it on PlayStation because it blew up so much. A lot of people on PlayStation, if they do, it'll most likely just be the console release, which is still 3 patches behind.
Yeah.
Yep. It's going to be interesting. It's definitely going to be interesting. But enough of that game because I don't know where this game's heading to, but we'll have to wait and see. But no, I'm going to flip-flop it. You guys, I want you to go ahead and talk about the Square Enix topic.
Recently, Square Enix has done their Q4 statement, and I'm going to just do a quick rundown of their Q4. Well, they're talking about their plans for the future, and we could talk about what this means for the RPG space. Future, yeah, what it means for RPGs and in general. Let's just be honestly frank about this. Square Enix is not one of the largest publishers of RPGs in the market. They're one of the big ones.
Yeah.
And they make
Are
a
they
lot of
not
titles.
the biggest?
It's you can argue space between Atlas and some other companies. You can argue this one company in Microsoft that says they make RPGs, but you know how I feel about them. But yeah, I would say Square Enix is like particularly, I would say one of the largest. Just
They're on
keep
the
them
top
in.
echelon of.
I would say they are the
RPG
largest. To
makers.
be honest.
There's a couple.
They're
There's
definitely bigger than
a
Atlas.
couple of people. There's a couple of people like that makes RPGs that like with sales, but again, you know, let's say one of the largest.
I mean, when it comes to brands, when it comes to RPG brands,
I mean,
the
again,
title.
I'm trying to like be like open about this. It's like I don't know the exact numbers. All right, if I had the numbers right in front of me, then I'll be able to say so. Otherwise, say one of the largest, because it's like there's other people who are large too in the space, and it depends. Like some small ho-dunk indie company can make a game and just blow them up the water in market space. So you know, things
Fair
happen.
enough. I'll do the research while you're talking because I'm curious about this.
So, anywho, so they mentioned that for the upcoming year, they have some really good ideas of games coming out. You know, they're happy with the success of Final Fantasy 16. They're talking about how they're going to up the expectations for Dawn Trial for 14, which comes out this summer, 2024. And one of the head of the Kiryu, one of the head guys, Kiryu at Square Enix, said something interesting, saying that he wants to strengthen internal development capabilities and concentrate on the development of resources and move on to carefully select new titles. But once again, he says that diversity has new challenges. And we're also talking about like the poor reception. Someone brought up the poor reception of one of the games that came out like last year. Scott and I knew this. And
it wasn't.
Oh, go ahead. No, it was not good. And it's pretty much insane, like how like towards the last end of last year and the year before, they pumped out so many games, and I'm just gonna list them off. They got Various Day Life, we got Diofield Chronicles, Valkyrie Elysium, we had Tactics Ogre. Tactics Ogre. He said it.
We should put a quarter in the jar every time you say that name.
Yeah, we got Crisis Core Reunion. We had Dragon Quest Treasures. We had another remake for Ultima again. We got Triangle Strategy. We had FF16. There's a bunch of titles in between like that. They had a banger year of RPGs last year, just making them out. But Scott, as you know, and I know, not all those RPGs did well.
No,
they just got flooded. And it's not and by the way, it's not like these RPGs are of bad quality. Like I could highly recommend this, this independent strategy RPG called Tactics Ogre. It's just very solid, highly independent. Yeah, it was real bad. Yeah.
To add in real quick, as my camera decides it wants to push me off the screen. See, bye.
What's Kirby? Kirby is the real. He's the real
Kirby. Yeah, he's the name you should know, man. He's a star of the show.
Square Enix has been notorious for doing more than just a handful of RPGs a year, and this has always been something that people have said about this company that they need to slow down, but they won't. They won't. Actually,
here's the thing. You're wrong about that. I actually admit that's a problem. You should let me finish before you make some bad statements. That was a really bad statement.
That's not a problem?
No. That is actually not a problem because they actually admit they're going to take care of that. Because I know, again, put it in the comments, Keith Mitchell hates all Japanese company RPGs. Sonic was never good.
Well, what I said is this has been a problem for years. So if they're finally doing something about that, doesn't change the fact that for the last decade, that has been a major problem for the company.
Here's the thing about it, though. They're flooding the market with their RPGs have actually made them profit sales go up in exponential ways. The issue that is, I'm going to get to it, is that none of the RPGs get enough shine for them to continue on Square Enix's trajectory for games. They have a higher sales quota, what makes for them to a good game successful, regardless of like public perception, depending. Like, I don't. Oh God, let me think of like. Oh, I think Diofield sold like less than 1 million copies, and it's like. Well, less than 1 million copies for like a brand new IP is not bad. For Square Enix, is not great, but they're flooding it with something else. The issue is like Square Enix is in this like they have to like do this because it's not letting new properties take over. They're getting stuck into, and they admit it, like, oh yeah, we've trained our consumers or And Octopath did well for them, because
Octopath did do very well. Yes,
it did very well. So we're all proud.
Yeah.
And the
So
thing is
I
that
think another thing that I do want to bring up is one issue that you can definitely see just looking at like the release schedules is half of those games that get Silius titled, all of them came out in September of the same year. They decided to put all their releases in 1 month for some weird reason.
Yeah.
And I don't think that helped their sales at all. I think having a good balance and having a good like kind of between period so you can have your titles releasing in kind of a stable amount of time before the next one comes out is a better idea, especially if you're someone like me who only will necessarily buy one full game a month because that's the budget that I put myself on. I don't want to buy a brand new game every single week or every single day, especially when you're someone who's in the space that you know where all the new games are coming and when they're going to be and which ones you want to get. And there was at least like 5 from September that I wanted to get, but I knew I wasn't going to because I'm not going to spend that much money on games in a single month.
Yeah, as well as like,
what RPG came out this year in September?
This year or last year, you mean?
I'm sorry, last year.
Well, would you like to have a full rundown of September releases?
From Square Enix, yes. So I'm just curious about something.
Okay. I know they had Valkyrie Elysium. I know they had Diofield Chronicles. Trying to think of
Let's see. For Square, all right. So for Square Enix, we had let's see. We had the smash hit success of Infinity Strash, Dragon Quest, Revenge of Die, Smash Sex. I would love to play that game every day. Please, Square, don't hurt me. We had was it September? No, Crimson Tactic was someone else. That game was someone else. No, that's just the one I can think of top of my head. Oh, the Ever Crisis again. You don't count mobile games. Like God, this is so many Square Enix mobile games.
Dragon Quest: The Adventure of Dai also came out in September.
Okay, that's the one. Yeah. Were there more mobile games than actual conventional games, console games, PC games?
By Square, they did most like 2 or 3 mobile games that month. By RPG, though, just one. But I think what Scott's more alluding to is that within the last quarter, as I said early in the conversation, they have just dumped a whole bunch of games on the consumer. Like there was a lot of games they dumped in that quarter, from Crisis Core and the quarter is from September to all the way to December. That's a lot of games they dumped within the last like 3 months. So it's insane.
All right, fair enough.
So yeah, that's a lot for a consumer to get into. So back to the point at hand I was getting at. So one of the major things during the conventions, because I'm not at a convention. Here I am talking about conventions. So one of the things they talked about is they asked them a question is, has the formulation of your next medium-term business plan not produced any conflicts internally? Does everyone internally share the same goals? And this is referring to that, does everyone within the mid-size has any conflicts based on the release schedule, based on the number of games produced? And Chiryu just answered, I do not believe there is any conflict in terms of communication between the management team and development team. We undertook an extensive research to inform quantitative quality analysis of where we currently stand, followed by the iterative discussions regarding what we should do going forward. We have established trust and worked hard to achieve buy-in for the plan. We're purchasing exchange of various views. And Lehman Spurk is saying, yes, we're working on communicating to release things better between the development and management team. We are still trying to produce games, but we've realized crunching the games out in the schedule is not the key to go to, because it just kind of hurts the consumer. It gives a drain, because again, there are games they want released and the games people want to talk about. Like if you released, let's say Visions of Mana, let's say they release it in hopefully not this summer, because the summer is Dawn Trial, right? Now you have your fan base, let's say, you have, yes, I guess I'm in that quarter. Oh man, this is new expansion of 14 Dawn Trial, but there's also Visions of Mana. Since I already paid for Final Fantasy 14, I'm more inclined to commit to this. Therefore, I'm not going to commit to their new IP they made. which is, you know, well, not new, but new to some people, the Visions of Mana, which Square clearly wants you to play Visions of Mana. They clearly want you to try the non-Final Fantasy, if you could, please. But, you know, you launch it at the same time, what are my decisions going to be? It's on Final Fantasy, screw it. And I guess Scott could have released that kind of mentality too, right? Like if you're locked in that, you're locked in that.
Yeah, if you're only gonna be,
so it's like that's the thing. It's like something gets popular, mainstream, people commit to it, and then like a company's trying to diversify the portfolio and make these other games. But Square Enix also marketing. Like this is like the most salient quote that he said was he wants to structure development to ensure quality for each title, but slimming down the lineup, which is a good thing. We've tried to produce hits by developing a wide variety of titles by focusing on certain ones. I believe it resulted by splintering our resource pool, meaning that they're trying to go wide has actually hurt them rather than going like tall. And though I have disagreements with this, I think going tall could be better. It's better to have like 4 titles that are super good and diverse. I mean, if you guys disagree with that or have any takes on it, you can add to it, you know. But it just seems like Square is aware of the issues of things. They're aware of like games like Palworld Simulator being a success, besides not being a tentpole game for Square Enix. Like it seems like Square is in this like very hot position now, and I mean this like seriously, that they have to be much more thoughtful of what they produce and how they produce their games, but at the same time curtail their audience to try a bunch of their titles. They don't want people to be in the camps. They want, like, if you like RPGs, you should also try, you know, Romancing Saga. If you also like turn-based games, give Octopath a try. If you like ARPGs, maybe you should try Yeast. I mean Visions of Mana. But seriously, play Yeast. It's really good. Or, you know, if you like an old school take a bit, you could play this game called Boundless Trails, A Legend of Nayuta. This young kid and his best friend are on his adventure. It's really fun, you know, only $40. This is not an ad. Please play it. Scott can attest it's the best game ever played. He loves it more than he loves Cold Steel. Yeah, that's not supposed to happen,
The article also goes to speak about how their focus on what they're going to get rid of in terms of the games they're deciding to publish is they want to get rid of what's like known as the middle ground. You have like the more indie, really cheap budget games, and then you have like the Final Fantasy and high Dragon Quest budget games. And they want to get rid of everything in the middle of that.
What are considered the cheap games?
To them,
they would the smaller budget games would be like Little Goody Two Shoes that came out this year. Well, I guess 2023. Or it would be like Harvestella is a smaller budget game for them. So it's games that don't have nearly the same kind of, I guess, polish or presentation as, say, a Final Fantasy game. But
right, it's like pretty much it's like or games that are near that tier. Like no offense, this could be, and please, guys, don't shoot me. They're probably going to finally kill Star Ocean because Star Ocean has.
Why? The last one was great.
Yeah, the remake did fantastic.
The remake did fantastic. Are you talking about like like the 3D Star Ocean? I even forgot the name of it. Like Betrayal and
the remake was fantastic.
Yeah, that's a remake. That costs little to make. I'm talking about the full-on, like the actual. Was it Star? Oh God, I actually forgot the game.
The newest one was Divine Force from 2020.
Divine Force, yeah. Mm-hmm. Or Dealfield Chronicles, games like that. Games are like not like, you know, that use the same resource pool to make, but again, internal Square Enix number is not good. They may have did well for like outside numbers. Looking at, oh wow, you sold 200,000 copies, Square. This is nothing.
It's definitely not what they want.
Exactly. And I think that's a high, like they care about their standards, but it's wild that way. So it's like games like that are probably going to get more axed, or they're going to have to wait until somebody's willing to try it. In some instances, we've seen from the Xbox, from the Xbox show we talked about last episode, is they're probably going to start scrapping and just putting new teams and new projects and let this see what happens, because Visions of Mana, I'm really excited for it. We joked about it. Has elements of what I like about Yeast games.
Yes, it does.
And that is good. Now, if they could take some elements from this brand new RPG, this independent game called Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, I think that would be dope. But that's a future project. But
yeah, that's going to be interesting, because not related to the topic, but that game, I really think it's going to have a lot of people looking at what it is and what it does, and possibly change the formula for RPGs, certain RPGs.
It's going to be a big wake up, a new standard to like multiplayer ARPG experiences, and I think that's a good thing. And I hope more people learn from it. But again, I feel like the thing is, like, I think Square has realized that they're stretching themselves thin, and if they want to try something new, they're going to put newer young people on it, with obviously some veteran help, and I think that's going to help them a lot more. I think it's a much more better way of doing things. Like I do feel that like some people look at the Square Enix thing as a bit negative, and I can see why. Like Scott, I think you see some people done some takes on it, and they're not bad people. I respect them deeply. They done some like they were like, oh, they're not answering the conditions. They're still still shoveling games, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of different takes surrounding it.
Yeah. And I'm more of the mind of I think that I'm more positive thinking that Square is going to try to adapt the lessons they learned the last couple of years to do something, because I just think like they are one of the biggest producers of games, and they had a stockhold on quality. Like them, Atlas, Vanillaware. Oh God, who else makes high quality games? I would say Where's on Pier, but Robert that's done well from like Power Wash Simulator, and I believe I forgot the name of it. It's very popular. It's like a half visual novel and like half like puzzle game. It's not visual novel. It's like Walking Dead, Strange.
Oh yeah, the various day life or something like that.
Yeah, Life is Strange series. Yeah.
Life is Strange. Yeah, that one did well.
Yeah, he did well, exactly. So it's like they have this diversity of titles they're putting around, but they want to make sure the quality is all the places, and they admit that stretching thin has hurt them. So I'm optimistic they can do better, because if anyone can do better, like that's always a thing to be proud of. But at least they acknowledge and try and fix their problem. But I am worried about what titles would they mean by cutting. Because it could be a death sentence to a lot of niche series. Like they could cut Romance Saga, that's the end of that one. They could cut Star Ocean, that could be the end of that one. They could unironically cut. Do they own? No, that's the Rhapsody is someone else. They don't own Rhapsody.
Rhapsody's NIS.
Rhapsody's NIS, exactly. Yep. Yeah, exactly. Everything NIS. But they could cut like a lot of their independent series that I'm thinking off the top of my head. And that could be the death to them. We'll never see them for like another 20 years or whatever. So that's a scary part to me. That's just my take of the whole Square Enix thing. What's your take, Scott?
It's interesting because you also have to remember with how long it takes for games to be developed nowadays, this initiative might not really be seen until a few years down the road.
Yeah.
So they say that this is going to be them going to be cutting middle ground projects. They probably won't actually cut any of the projects now, but it'll be when they start deciding on new projects later, when they have to actually decide how far things are going with certain developments, different games. So we got at least like a year or two or something of still this same problem, probably with Square Enix, where they're going to still be releasing a bunch of games all in the same kind of quarter, and have like nothing for the others.
Right. It'll be like Dead Zone launching, and this is something that Nintendo is kind of notorious at doing it sometimes. Like they'll have like no games for like 8 months, and the last 2-3 months.
I'd say the biggest problem of Square Enix is going to be figuring out where their middle ground is supposed to technically be. Because us trying to speculate where the middle ground is, we don't know all the numbers, but at the same time, we can see kind of how they do and how like they are kind of popular on either social media or how they popular with sales-wise. But otherwise, we don't know like all their budget. We don't know how much time it takes for each of these games. We just know that it's going to keep getting bigger with their middle ground as the high ground keeps getting bigger.
Right, and I wonder what they consider middle ground games for what their main franchises are. Like, for example, they've done pixel remasters of certain classic games, like Star Ocean. They've done pixel remasters of Final Fantasy. As a Dragon Quest fan, I was hoping for a remaster for some of my favorite Dragon Quest games. My favorite Dragon Quest game is Dragon Quest 3. I love Dragon Quest 8. Them being remastered would be pretty cool, but those would be wouldn't that be considered middle ground games? So they wouldn't consider doing that. And even for, and by the way, I think Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy are essentially the face of the company, at least when it comes to RPGs. So it's like are they limiting to just middle ground games that are not the face games? Are they just talking across or just anything that's middle ground? Again, it's speculation, as you said earlier.
It will be interesting to see how many games they'll have in the next like 3 years to see if they're gonna actually keep this or if they're gonna have like a runaway hit next year that I was thinking that they thought was a middle ground game that will then make them have to rethink how much they're actually gonna cut.
Yes, true story. Like unironically, if Visions of Mana like pops off, that would be nice though. This honestly, I would like a Mana game to be popular again.
I think the way that they're talking about that game, excuse me, here, I'm dying. And the way that they're showing off this game, I really do think that they're trying to put 150% of their efforts into this game. I don't think this game is going to fail at all.
No, I don't think so. But it's like it will do well, but will it do well enough for them to continue to put it in the top percentage of games that's like a priority for them to make? Because it's like Square to me like a lot. Oh God. There was an interview, I think, a couple of months ago. Scott, you were this that the developer of Falcom has admitted, like, because of the West, we saved the Legend of Heroes series, which we did it. That was us. They said politely that it was Sif Scott and Get Silius who all randomly buying 500 copies of every game saved the company. Granted, we're bankrupt, but we saved the company.
That's what really matters in life.
That's what really matters. They put all name up. But no, it's like that. Like to me, for Falcom, like the big Falcom games was Yeast, and Legend of Heroes was like niche unless you knew about it. But now that Legend of Heroes has kind of surpassed Yeast in a way, they're like, wow, this is working. So I guess we're going to focus on these games now. I mean, we'll still make Yeast games, of course. Like Nordic's going to be good. But it's Yeast Nocturne or Yeast.
Yeah,
Yeast. Yeah, that was good. I enjoyed it. Nocturne Monks, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it just seemed that it just fell off more faster than what's the other one?
I think East 9 was
Dana.
Yeah. East 9 was a little more divisive for some fans because it was a lot more secluded in its actual like areas.
Yeah.
East 8 was a lot more open, but it wasn't as, I guess, story centric as East 9 was. So it depends on if you like the open air of East 8 or if you like the more the more short, not really short, but the more precise story.
Condensed.
Yeah. Yes, that's the word.
Yes. Yeah. I think the condension was okay, but then again, you know, this guy overcame his barriers and made the best game of all time. So I'm gonna stick with that.
All right. Well, I'm gonna make us get off this topic. One, because I think I'm gonna kill this camera, and two, we've been talking about this for like 20-something minutes. I don't know if you're paying attention. The camera it's just been moving. It's like, what the hell?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Me and Scott.
No, I love that you do that, but you know, we only have a certain amount of time to talk, and you know, it's nearly a certain time for certain people to take their ass to bed. And I love that you talk. That's why you should be doing another podcast, you know, the RPG show hosted by Get Silius and Scott.
Maybe in the future, unironically, maybe in the future. But on a serious note, though, I was like, I do stand by this. I mentioned this on every podcast. I do believe we're in the golden age of RPGs the last like 5 to 10 years. Unironically, there's an RPG for everybody on big company, small company, mid-sized companies. Classic series are making comebacks. There are revisions to many games that people could play. There's an RPG for anyone and everyone out there. I mean, if you like difficult RPGs with no handling the storytelling, Fear and Hunger 1 and 2 are for you, baby. Termina's there for you, baby. Let's go. You like your RPGs with insane multiple endings or choices you make? Cesspool exists. You like RPGs that has overcoming your barriers? There's Trails of Azure and Zero and Reverie. You like ARPGs? We got tons for you. You got the Mana series coming back. We got Legends of you got Nayuta coming back. Like I really do believe this is the best time to be an RPG fan because it's something for everyone and everything is in print and you can find a series or things you.
All right, so we're moving on to the last topic of this night. Probably won't be, but I have to say it anyway because that's what's on our docket here. So. I actually was talking to somebody on Twitter a couple of days ago about this topic, and I figured why not bring it up on the next show because it would make more sense to talk to people I can actually talk to. Everybody's been talking about this brand new Nintendo system, whatever it's called, the Super Nintendo Switch or whatever it's going to be called. And there are some people that have the notion, excuse me, that they think that maybe Nintendo will have to change course or change their upcoming system just because there are just so many handheld PC game or handheld PC devices on the market. And I thought
that's a
that was a
weird one.
really weird. I thought that was weird. And I don't see that being a thing, but I did at least want to bring it up and talk about that with you guys. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of key points here, but there's also a lot of things that a traditional system would do better than a handheld PC, unless you're talking about, say, the Steam Deck. That is the only one that is something that could pose a threat to Nintendo. But then again, it doesn't have Nintendo's title. It doesn't have a Mario. It doesn't have a Zelda. It doesn't have a Mario Kart. It doesn't have a Pokemon. Well, wait.
There we go. Now.
It has a Pokemon now. I mean, outside of emulation, we won't talk about that. What do you all think about that? I don't think it holds any ground whatsoever.
I think it's a pretty bad take, and as well as like you don't understand. If you say that, you don't understand Nintendo. Nintendo has always been like this one island. They don't really care about a lot of things. That's why I feel like if you buy a Nintendo product, you can be by yourself, say all the stupid stuff you want to say, and no one will ever come at you. You'll be fine. I jokingly, but I mean this seriously. I don't think Nintendo really cares so much about the market. They're more care about their audience and what their audience is willing to buy from them. That's the core thing. And I don't think they're going to switch what they're going to do to compete with like the PC handheld market, because the PC handheld market is a pretty wild thing. You got Steam Deck, ROG, scammers, and a whole bunch of people in between there. So they're not even going to care about that part. But I do
the same way that I don't think Nintendo has to worry about the handheld PC market. I think the handheld PC market right now is kind of its own thing. I do think that the Nintendo Switch definitely helped the PC market more than the PC market might help the Switch.
Yeah.
But yeah, Nintendo, I don't think we'll have to worry. They're really good at keeping all their titles on their own console. They don't really ever put anything ever anywhere else. So
and
anybody
if they do, they take it off really quick.
So, yeah. Anybody who's a Nintendo fan knows that, so they'll most likely get a Nintendo console to play the Nintendo games. Nobody got Nintendo Switch to play the third-party games unless they're third-party exclusives.
Yeah.
I mean, if you did before, you definitely aren't doing it now. That's for damn sure.
It just
don't play Mortal Kombat 1 on the Switch and regret your decision.
No, don't do that.
No.
Of the handheld PCs would pose a threat to Nintendo, that they would care. Because they would, I mean, look at the Xbox Series X. Look, the Nintendo didn't rush and say we need to bring out this brand new system now. Look at the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. Nintendo's like, meh, whatever. We got
no,
this.
No, exactly. It's not like they're like, oh boy, we're in trouble now. It's like, nope, we're good. We're still gonna follow our game plan. We still got things we're working on. There's nothing else to it. Like, you know, we were talking about earlier about the Square Enix and their dumping release schedule to fix that or whatever. Nintendo is the master of like having a random release schedule dropping like X amount of games and see you next year type. And they don't care. Then they're fine. Private company, you know. But I mean that seriously. Yeah. So it's like, I think that in order, the only thing it would seem like if somehow the Nintendo audience has like put a preference to PC handle to a PC hand, they'll need you need a lot more than that.
Yeah, like I said, I just thought it was a weird thing. I mean, I'm happy to see that people are looking at these devices and taking them. But as you mentioned before, there's just so many on the market, like the ROG Ally, the Legion Go, the crap ton of ones from NE Neo. We got the one coming out from MSI. We got the ones from another company I forgot about. One X player is back in the spotlight with their upcoming thing. And they've been a player for a while. It's just you didn't hear about them because other people were doing things. There's one more company. I can't remember who they are. Let's say what is it? GD something. I forget who they are. I'll probably find them. I'm looking for them right now. But yeah, there are just so many people out there right now making these devices. I don't think Nintendo cares one bit. I don't think this is going to make Nintendo change course whatsoever. if anything, this new system from Nintendo might make a dent in the PC market, make PC makers go, maybe we should copy this one now. And I shouldn't say copy. I shouldn't say copy.
Right.
I don't think any.
Right. It's and it also depends too. Like maybe and I do mean if Nintendo will be like, oh yeah, I like the design of this. Maybe we can incorporate that, or PC people do that. But at the same time, it's like if and I don't mean this as an insult. If anybody makes a PC handheld and try to copy the Switch,
that's who it was. I forgot what it was for a second. And they actually have a new console or a new PC coming out, and it looks like a 3DS.
Wow!
Or not.
Got the dual screens.
Yeah, it got the dual screen. Yeah, I don't know if you saw it, but yeah, it's coming out soon. I'm just looking for it now. My website is taking forever. Yeah, they've got 2 of them coming out right now. One looks like a generic handheld you hold in your hand. Where's the other one? Their website is garbage, apparently. I can't find it on there. But they showed it off not too long ago. And I can't find it. So we'll ignore that and keep going over a conversation until I find it again. And then I go, I found it again.
Yeah, but it just feels like I feel like a lot of PC handheld people, they're all gonna scour around to get the market, to get the best product, blah blah blah. But I feel like I scratch my head. It's like I don't think Nintendo is going to do that. Nintendo may look at a design and maybe switch their own way, but they've never been the one to be like, yeah, these are the guys coming for me. No one's coming for you guys. You're good. You got this.
Okay, I'm sorry. It's the Neo who's doing it. The Neo Flip DS.
Yeah, the GPD looks like you're just doing a keyboard under it instead of a.
Yeah, there's 2 of them. There's one with the keyboard and one without the keyboard. It looks just like a 3DS, and it's called the Flip DS. The Flip DS. Are you serious?
Man, I swear, it's just like.
But Neo is a Chinese company, so to be honest, like I said, I think the only company that could actually pose a threat to Nintendo, and even then, the games, damn this off, it's Valve. And they don't care about doing that.
No,
and the only reason only reason I say that is because they're the only one who have their stuff together. They're the only one that has a system with the overlay that is super user intuitive. Anybody can pick up a Steam Deck, turn it on, connect the Steam account, and they're done. Literally done. And they're at the point now where you can install certain add-ons that I won't talk about now because we'll be here forever, that can actually run Windows games. So,
yep,
they're making big strides here. Maybe the next system, the next Steam Deck, whatever it's going to be called, could be the one that goes, you know what? We can run games on Steam OS and we can run Windows games. And then that would kill all the handheld devices on the PC market. Literally would kill them all.
No, fair. No, it's fair enough.
With them.
Right, and you think that oh wow, Valve owns all the Steam. Is I guess we should compete with that. Wait, that's PC. Aren't we consoles? You sit there are we? Oh yeah, we are. And it's that's the end of the conversation.
The dumb thing about these conversations, it's the one thing I just hate saying to people is consoles are better than PC. It's look, I'm not going to argue with you. This is a dumb conversation because it depends on which is which. I don't want to fight with you. At the same time, there are no such thing as consoles anymore. There are no consoles. Everything that you're playing on right now is a PC.
Yeah,
no, it's
PC
not. Yes, it is.
Now.
Everything is a PC. Everything's a PC. Don't fight with me. The PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, your beloved Nintendo Switch, everything. Their x86 butthole. They're PCs now.
Yeah, pretty much. The Xbox One and PS4 generation just turned them into PCs that are on your computer or that are on your TV.
I would argue the Dreamcast started that.
Well, the Dreamcast was definitely it, but nobody followed in the Dreamcast's footsteps is the sad part.
Dreamcast was such a great system. Such a
good times,
which is another system I'll be hooking up in my retro cabinet because I love my Dreamcast. I'll actually play a legit copy
Third Strike, okay?
Crazy Taxi.
God, I love Crazy Taxi.
Gotta get the original for that.
Yeah. I think I still have the original Crazy Taxi in my house, but it's in disc space, so I could just give it to you. Good time. So,
I mean, not that the Dreamcast wasn't the easiest system to, play copy games on.
No, it wasn't. Trust me.
It was. You just had to burn a CD. Done.
Yeah.
Didn't
They had
really...
no protection on the system whatsoever. It was like, wow, Sega, did you set this up to fail from the get-go? Because no protection meant everybody was going to do. Anyway, I think we're at the end of this podcast. As always, we like to say one or two things before we go. We're not going to ask Angel looking forward to, because we do that too many times. But how about this? Is there any game that you wish? Are there too many games?
Wait, what game that's not being made right now? That's an easy question.
No. What game is being made that you wish it wasn't being made?
Oh, that's easy. Suicide Squad.
Oh,
wow, that was easy enough.
That was easy. Yeah, I wish Suicide Squad, because it's like Rocksteady's entire company is going downhill, man. I mean, the CEO left to be a new company. Yeah, I wish that wasn't made. If that game was never made, we would have had it. We would have respected them more. But look at this stuff. No way.
That was pretty easy.
That was a pretty easy.
Pretty
one,
damn easy.
I'm trying to think of all the games that are coming out this year and which ones would not want to be made.
Axe Falcon to stop remaking Cold Steel. Like, stop it. Tell them that one, please.
Tell them instead of a remake for PS5 of Cold Steel 3 and 4, we get a remake of Sky.
While you're thinking about it, let me just throw in one real quick. So I've heard a lot about this, and I actually was initially excited, and now I'm pretty sad because I really enjoyed this game many times. That being Ace Combat coming to the Switch. I don't know now about this game on the Switch. I do not know. This game is a graphical masterpiece on the other consoles. I don't know how this is going to show up on the Switch. Maybe it'll prove me wrong. Maybe they got some wizards there, but I'm afraid about this game.
Wasn't Ace Combat? Wait, it's Ace Combat 6. Wasn't it on PC? Well,
7. 7.
Okay. Oof, wow.
7 was on Xbox 360, PlayStation 4, and PC, Steam.
Wow.
I think 6 may have come out on PC as well. I don't remember, but 7 was a masterpiece. Oh my god.
I did find a game that I wish it wasn't being made right now, actually.
What's that?
The Jujutsu Kaisen Cursed Clash Arena Fighter.
Oh, god, yeah. Well, Bandai Namco will have no more money to make something else,
Like, do I want a Jujutsu Kaisen game? Yes. Do I want it to be an arena fighter? No, not in the slightest. I am just fed up of them just making the same game just with different characters.
Different anime? Yeah.
Different IP, yeah. Hell, half the time it has some of the same movesets. I'm not even joking.
Yeah. It's just like the only time that I like these arena fighter things are generally when Cyber Connect is at the helm too, because they
But the problem with these games is they sell. People buy them. Remember Jump Force? Remember Jump Force?
I don't want it.
Oh god, Jump Force was so
those
bad.
facial animations were those are nightmare inducing.
People were hyping this game so bad, like, no, this game is terrible. What are you talking about? No, don't play this game.
No.
And then it was they were closing the servers, Jump Force is going away, and everybody's like, oh. And then Dragon Ball Fighters came out and nobody cared.
God bless that game saving the day.
Oh boy. All right, well, I guess we are done for this late episode of Spectator Mode Podcast. As always, thanks for stopping by and checking out our show. And if you like our show, you can do these couple of things. Check us out on Apple Podcasts. Check us out on YouTube Podcast. Stupid camera. I would say Google Podcast, but Google is closing it down. Check us out on Buzzsprout. Buzzsprout. Check us out on YouTube and anywhere else. Great podcast. Oh, one last thing. I'm going to start pimping this from now on. Some of us are heading out to PAX East 2024 this year. So if you're going to PAX East, be sure to stop by and say, I'll be there for sure. Matt is trying to go, and we got a couple other people that are trying to go to PAX East 2024 as well. Looking forward to being there this year. Hopefully it is a lot better than it was last year. We'll wait and see. All right, guys, we are heading out of here. We've had a great podcast. It's almost time to go to bed, and maybe when I wake up tomorrow, this cold will be magically gone.
You can only hope for.
Yeah, I can only hope. This cold has been going on for almost 2 weeks. It's got to go away. But that's it from myself, from Matt, and from Scott. Thank you. Thanks for checking out our show.
Thank you.
And as always, thank you. And as always, be sure to check us out next time we come back next week. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.